Hi, I'm Darren Hirons. Welcome to this video series on using Workspace ONE UEM to do enrolment of Windows 10 using a variety of methods. In this first video, I'm going to show you how to use factory provisioning with AzureAD Premium. As you can see on the screen, I have a Workspace ONE UEM tenant which currently has no Windows 10 devices enrolled into it. So let's get started. In order to configure factory provisioning, we're going to go to Lifecycle, Staging and Windows. And in here, you'll be able to set up all the templates for your factory provisioning. You can create a new one by clicking on the New button at the top. But in this case, I'm just going to show you one that I've already created, which is the AzureAD Premium one in the middle. I'm going to edit this and show you the settings inside it. So as you can see, you have to start off by giving it a name and an optional description. You'll then have to select factory provisioning, and on the next screen you can choose all the configuration, which starts off with things like the type of directory you want to join. You can choose which bits of the out-of-the-box experience to show or hide. You can set the language for the end user so they don't have to choose it. You can choose the registered owner. You can choose whether to remove consumer apps from Windows 10 like Candy Crush. You can set the license key. You can change the admin password. There are a variety of different things you can do in here, including right at the bottom, you can set optional commands to run at first logon. Now clicking next takes you to the application screen. Now in here you can actually set applications to install as part of the factory provisioning task. And this can be really useful where you don't want users to have to wait for things to install. When we've got that far, we're going to save and export it, and then what you'll see is after a few minutes a drop down will appear and you'll be able to download two files, a ppkg and an unattended XML. The ppkg contains the applications you've chosen and the unattended XML contains the code with all the settings you've selected. I've copied them to the desktop of a brand new Windows 10 machine which I've booted into audit mode. I've also copied onto here the factory provisioning tool which is available on the VMware website. And when you run the factory provisioning tool, it only asks you for two options. It asks you to select the ppkg and select the unattended XML. So all I'm going to do is select the two files I've previously created and add them into here. Now you have an option here to restart or shut down after you've finished. In this case I'm just showing you this demo, so I'm going to do a restart and I'm going to apply the full configuration. And on the right hand side you'll see the status updates of what this is doing. It's going to start off by validating the files. It's going to install the content of the ppkg so that in this particular example Chrome will be installed into the desktop and we should see an icon displayed on the actual desktop itself. It's then going to run through the unattended XML, applying all the configuration to the out-of-the-box experience which we selected. And then finally it'll finish by running sysprep and generalizing the image, and then it'll reboot into the out-of-the-box experience. So let's just leave it here for a few minutes to go through its tasks. Now at this point the factory provisioning process is actually complete, and at this point the device could be handed over to an end user. So let's imagine now that the device is in the hands of the end user. The end user powers on the device and Windows starts up as normal. Remember, the device is applying the unattended XML and it's applying the configuration we set as part of the factory provisioning process. Please ignore any changes to the screen at this point. This is a consequence of it running inside a virtual machine. An end user would not normally see these screen changes. So as Windows continues to boot, we can see that it's now started to run the out-of-the-box experience for the end user. And the first step is that they're prompted to enter their email address. When they enter this email address, it'll be looked up in AzureAD, and the AzureAD configuration points the device back to Workspace ONE. The user is prompted to select their domain from the drop-down list, and then they are prompted to enter their username and password. Remember, this prompt is coming from Workspace ONE, not AzureAD. As the configuration continues, Workspace ONE will prompt the end user. And once they click continue on this button, in this case, it's asking them to choose the group that they want to enroll into. This can be automated through group membership. So if you'd rather not show it, please don't worry. Another prompt for the end user where they can select their preferences. And at this point, Windows will start the final steps of the configuration and start configuring the profile for the end user. This prompt will appear just showing a status update of the device configuration. The end user can browse this, or they can simply click continue anyway at the bottom of the screen. A mandatory part of the AzureAD Premium configuration is the configuration of Windows Hello, and the user will be sent a one-time passcode to their mobile device. This will be received in the form of a text message, and at this point the user should type in the code and click verify. Next, the user will be prompted to create a PIN. the user needs to enter their PIN twice and click OK to continue. And that's it. The end user's all set. They click OK and they're launched into the usable desktop. If we switch to the Workspace ONE UEM console, we can see that the device is already enrolled and we've already started pushing configuration down to the device. This will continue in the background with applications, configuration, patches, etc. being pushed down to the device until the device is fully configured. So the end user should now be able to find the Workspace ONE Intelligent Hub, and they should be able to launch it from their start menu. In this particular example, we've pushed a user certificate down to the device as part of the onboarding process, which does single sign-on into the Intelligent Hub, but this could equally be done with other means, including the username and password. As this is the first time the Intelligent Hub has been launched, it will take a little bit longer than usual. During the first startup of the Intelligent Hub, there are a couple of optional screens which can be displayed. The first one is about helping to improve the user experience. The second one is the privacy disclaimer. These are optional and can be turned on and off in the UEM console. And there we have it. The Home tab is displayed by default if it's configured, showing the selected web page. We can also select other options if they are enabled in the Hub services, such as the application catalogue, people search, and finally the notifications platform. And that's it, the machine's now fully provisioned. As we can see, if we go back in and refresh the console view, we can see that all the statuses have updated, all the profiles and the applications are all installed. So the device is now fully configured. Hope you enjoyed this tutorial. If so, check out the other videos in my factory provisioning series.